So I'm here in Petaluma at the corner of Penry Park on North Petaluma Boulevard. So let's go up. Bit of a hike, but all in all, a nice park. Quite a view from up here. Go up a little higher. Yeah, quite a view. I suppose it must have been from a place like this. Maybe the founders planned out some of the town. There's the memorial. President of the United States of America, authorized by Act of Congress, March 3rd, 1863, has awarded, in the name of the Congress, the Medal of Honor to Sergeant Richard A. Penry, United States Army, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. Sergeant Richard A. Penry, Company C, 4th Battalion, 12th Infantry, 199th Infantry Brigade, distinguished himself on January 31st, 1940, while serving as a rifleman during a night ambush mission in Binh Thuy Province, Republic of Vietnam. As the platoon was preparing the ambush position, it suddenly came under an intense enemy attack from mortar, rocket, and automatic weapons fire, which seriously wounded the company commander and most of the platoon members, leaving small isolated groups of wounded men throughout the area. Sergeant Penry, seeing the extreme seriousness of the situation, worked his way through the deadly enemy fire to the company command post, where he administered first aid to the wounded company commander and other personnel. He then moved the command post to a position which provided greater protection and visual communication and control of other platoon elements. Realizing the enemy radio was damaged, the company radio was damaged, and recognizing the urgent necessity to re-establish communication with the battalion headquarters, he ran outside the defensive perimeter through a fusillade of hostile fire to retrieve a radio. Finding it inoperable, Sergeant Penry returned through heavy fire to retrieve 2 more radios. Turning his attention to the defense of the area, he crawled to the edge of the perimeter, retrieved needed ammunition and weapons, and resupplied the wounded men. During a determined assault by over 30 enemy soldiers, Sergeant Penry occupied the most vulnerable forward position, placing heavy, accurate fire on the attacking enemy and exposing himself several times to throw hand grenades into the advancing enemy troops. He succeeded virtually single-handedly in stopping the attack. Learning that none of the radios were operable, Sergeant Penry again crawled outside the defensive perimeter, retrieved a 4th radio, and established communications with higher headquarters. Sergeant Penry then continued to administer first aid to the wounded and repositioned them to better repel further enemy attacks. Despite continuous and deadly sniper fire, he again left the defensive perimeter, moved to within a few feet of enemy positions, located 5 isolated soldiers, and led them to safety. When evacuation helicopters approached, Sergeant Penry voluntarily left the perimeter, set up a guiding beacon, established the priorities for evacuation, and successfully carried 18 wounded men to the extraction site. After all wounded personnel had been evacuated, Sergeant Penry joined another platoon and assisted in the pursuit of the enemy. Sergeant Penry's conspicuous gallantry and extraordinary heroism at the risk of his own life are in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflect great credit on him, his unit, and the United States Army. Yeah, Penry was a real hero. That's why we named this park after him. In honor of all men and women who have served our country in the defense of freedom, dedicated on Memorial Day 2001. So it's, yeah, nice little park. Of course, no visit would be complete without seeing the artillery. It's interesting. These must be maybe an inch or an inch and a half. Shells can't be that big. Here we go. 1917, 1918. American Legion. John Silva, Gene Rossi, Frank Avila, Viola E. Ludenholm, Lauren J. Church, William J. Nisbet Jr., Louis W. Offutt, Randolph Nisbet, Ralph C. Young, Leo Caneva Ciccini, Leonard Schwann, Peter J. Feddersen, Percy A. Mills, Arthur W. Benson, Earl F. Hatton, Thomas M. Meadows, George Gricioni, James Gray, Edith White, Edward Cra, Ruth Ludenholm, Soren C. Hansen, Lawrence S. Kennedy, Dante Dolcini, William Resendez, Joseph Zanni, Clinton R. Madison, Arthur Spolini, William B. Mink, Otto H. Oster, Johannes S. Madsen, Irving Christie, Constant Cadranti, Faust Pedrotti. That these honored dead shall not have died in vain. Erected by American Legion Post number 28 and the citizens of the community, 1929. Spanish War. Philippines, Cuba, and Puerto Rico. Interesting. Yeah, quite a place, Penry Park. Well, thank you for watching.